summer of 1970, 3 students and 1 faculty member of the Department of Civil Engineering of Queen's University made a trip to Baffin Island. We wanted to climb some of the mountains there and explore some of the regions where few people had been before. As we thought it would be a good idea to keep a record of our journey, we invited a cameraman to come along with us. On July the 17th, we arrived at Pangyatang, an isolated Eskimo settlement on the Cumberland Peninsula. The Hudson's Bay store is not only the sole source of supplies for the region, but it also provides a center at which most people meet. Joe, the only English-speaking member of the Eskimo community. During the Northwest Territory Centennial celebrations, he had lunch with the Queen. The sun never sets in the Arctic at this time of year. We spent our first daylight night at Pangyatang and set out the next morning in an Eskimo hunting canoe. During the 30 miles we had to travel to the end of the fjord, we conversed in sign language with our Eskimo friends. It was easy enough to establish that we were asking about their children. It was more difficult, however, to understand whether the children were boys or girls. Having consulted our computer at Queen's, we expected to arrive at the end of the fjord at high tide. We hoped to save a mile or two of trudging along the sand flats. We christened the Eskimos Paklaks, as they had agreed to accompany us for the first day of our journey and carry 2 of the heavy packs. We had only walked a couple of miles when we realized that we hadn't completely prepared for the job of carrying 3 weeks' supplies on our backs over the rough Arctic tundra. We planned to establish our first camp 12 miles further up the valley, at the foot of Mount Thor. In this land, which the Vikings discovered, the jagged peaks have been aptly named after Norse legends. Thor, the god of thunder. Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. And next to the two, our real destination, the mountain so far unnamed because unclimbed. Appropriately, we later christened it Sif, the wife of Thor. The climbing abilities of this party were surprisingly diverse. Dave Sellers from England perched like a troll. Bill James from South Africa, specialist in climbing overhangs. Barry James from New Zealand. He takes the lead when the holes are too far apart. And I, Michel Medj from France, making my own contribution to this international expedition. Behind us, though, at times almost surrounding us, is, of course, Stan Willington, actually a Canadian, the unseen member of our mountain climbing group. Arctic spruce provided the fire for dehydrated home-cooked meals. We wanted to find a route to the summit of Sip, which would avoid the 4,000-foot high north face. Over moss-covered rock dumped by the retreating glaciers from the last ice age onto more recent glacial moraine. It took us 30 hours of continuous climbing to complete the ascent of Sip because of the unexpected cold and constant mist. Although we hadn't planned to do so, we were pleased to find ourselves on Baffin Island during the 2 weeks in which the Arctic flowers bloom. Arctic poppy, purple saxifrage, white heather, Arctic dryas, grass of Parnassus, the plover, one of the many birds which migrate to the Arctic during the short summer. Ten miles from Sith, Mount Baldur, 5,000 feet high, was the next virgin peak we succeeded in climbing. According to Norse legend, Baldur was the most beautiful of the gods. When he died, the whole world wept for him. We were surprised to find next to Balder a glacier with many streams running down its face. We called it the Weeping Glacier. Next to this stood another peak we wished to climb. As it looked strangely like an upturned boat, we called it Ringhorn, after the ship in which Balder was cremated. Our next objective was on the other side of the valley. Crossing the Weasel River was more hazardous than it looked. Freezing glacial meltwater kept shifting boulders on the riverbed, making it difficult to keep our footing. Beyond the river is the mighty Asgard, throne of the gods. At 6,500 feet, it's one of the highest and most notorious mountains in the area. Protected on all sides by vast glacial expanses and hidden crevasses, it represented the most dangerous part of our journey. The right-hand peak was climbed in 1953 by 4 Swiss climbers who had attempted Mount Everest the year before. The left-hand peak was to be our final challenge, the ultimate goal of our expedition.